What's going on, everybody? It is time for the April 9th Raw Super Show review. I'm Spaz, your YWC reality check. Let me ask you guys something. For a week and a day removed from WrestleMania, one of the more enjoyable WrestleManias in recent memory as far as I'm concerned, how are we doing? I'm fucking phenomenally excited about the product and where it's going and how things are kind of on their ass end at the moment, and I mean that in a good way. Like, you know, everything's upside down, in is out, everybody that's old is new again, all those cliches that we can bring out. This Raw is another example. I don't even have anything bad to say about John Cena in this episode of Raw. How's that, for those of you that know me and have been listening to me for a long time? Started off the show with two announcements, one being that we have CM Punk Mark Henry rematch from last week. No problem with that whatsoever. The other is that the special guests this week are the Three Stooges, promoting their movie coming out in a little while. I don't really care. Never watched the show when it was a show. I'm not going to watch the movie. I really don't care. Start with John Laurinaitis. You know, he comes out to a chorus of boos and he says he's here to announce the new face of the company. He shows the video clip of Brock Lesnar attacking John Cena from last week. Says Brock Lesnar will face John Cena at Extreme Rules because we need a face of the company that's not all about cliche catchphrases, etc., etc., etc. Introduces Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar's fans in the crowd go nuts until he thanks John Laurinaitis for bringing him back, and that puts a big damper on the crowd. He's about to speak. Cena comes out, and I'm thinking, okay, we're going to get another long, drawn-out Cena spiel. To my amusement and happiness and all those other words that I can't think of right now because I'm tired, Cena doesn't say bugger all, really. He says something to Lesnar without a microphone, just goes and slaps Brock Lesnar in the face, and they get in a brawl right away. And then they do, you know, they get a couple referees out to separate, and that doesn't work, so they get the entire locker room out to separate. And they haven't done it in a long while, but it's a very gimmicky WWE style spot where, you know, they get them all separated and then one jumps, they get them all separated again, then the other one jumps, and then they both pull through and they separate them and they yell at each other again, and, you know, it's very, you know, Tyson Austin type of stuff. But it was good, it was effective, and the thing that I loved, the thing that stuck out to me most in this entire thing, you know, I was impressed with John Cena getting in there, mixing it up with Brock Lesnar face to face, and, you know, didn't waste any words on him, which was great. But also, John Cena was busted open in the mouth quite legitimately, and the cameraman, you know, pretty much fixated on it. Now, I'm going to give you a little preview. That's one of my scores of the show, but not for the reasons that you guys are all going to think. I'll get to that later on. Cena's busted open, they get pulled apart, we go to break. We come back from break, and Laurinaitis is back in the locker room talking to Teddy Long, who's now his assistant, apparently, because of all the bullshit that happened on SmackDown. Blames Teddy Long for the entire outburst of what just happened, because Teddy Long, somehow, was supposed to contain John Cena, and he doesn't really explain what the hell that means anywhere in this episode, so it doesn't make much sense, other than he's just, you know, verbally undressing Teddy Long, which is awesome and wonderful. Eve tries to get an appointment with John Laurinaitis, and he shrugs her off. Brodus Clay and Santino Marella versus Ziggler and Swagger. After what happened last week with the whole triple threat match fiasco, we knew this was going to happen. I'm glad they've done it right away to get it out of the way. Brodus Clay is a fun character. He does his little dance thing to the ring. Santino basically ruins it all because he's Santino. The match is nothing special, I'll say that, and I don't even really have anything written down for it, but I'll say that it's a tag team match, but everybody was kind of doing their own thing. Brodus Clay was just doing his I'm big and I'm bad and I'm going to destroy everybody thing. Ziggler was doing his amazing athletic total package wrestler that we know he is thing. Santino was doing his goofy thing. Swagger was doing his, you know, I'm big, I'm strong, I've got technical skills, and that's what I bring to the match. But really, it was the first Brodus Clay match that lasted more than like 10 seconds. So that was kind of awkward. He got in there, he did a little bit, then Santino was in for a while. And then from the point that Brodus Clay tagged back in again, it was like watching another one of his squash matches, because he does finally get the squash match victory over Ziggler. Really, really not a fan of Ziggler taking the pin in this match, because Ziggler, not too long ago, was in the WWE title picture. Now he's in, you know, in a match with him that consists of him and 3, you know, if I want to be generous, mid-carders. So not particularly a fan of Ziggler getting the pin in this one, not particularly a fan of Santino and Brodus Clay getting the win, if I'm honest. But they get the win and we move on. Miz tries to get a meeting with John Laurinaitis. He gets shrugged off. Long comes back and, you know, doesn't really do much. Cena comes in, gets face to face with John Laurinaitis. I'm not going anywhere. A little bit of blood doesn't scare me. I like to hit people and I like to get hit, and I need an opponent tonight because I want a match. And, you know, he leaves and Laurinaitis tells Long, okay, you tell him that he's going to face David Otunga tonight, because that's a super intimidating opponent right there. And I'm going to be in Otunga's corner. You go tell John Cena that, Teddy. You're my messenger. You're my, really, really driving home the fact that, Long's become his, errand boy, or whatever you want to call it. We have Cody Rhodes versus RTruth. Cody Rhodes is definitely in charge of Truth, no problem at all, until Show interrupts. Stands on the rampway of the stage, shows Cody Rhodes not a replay from WrestleMania like he did last week, but shows him a replay of last week, where he showed him the replay of WrestleMania and how that cost him a match last week. It goes on to cost him a match this week because Rhodes is, paying attention to what Show is doing. Lost my place. RTruth, sneaks up behind him, gets the quick win, the little Jimmy's revenge, or whatever that backbreaker DDT thing that he does is, and a quick, undeserving victory for RTruth. I'm a fan, but he shouldn't be beating Cody Rhodes at this point in the game, absolutely. Santino does some stupid shit in the back with the Three Stooges, and I could care less because I had a phone call at the time, so the TV was definitely on mute, and I don't feel like I missed very much. The Three Stooges were in a box with packing peanuts, and Santino got him out with a crowbar, and I don't know. Lord Tensai, who debuted last week, very, very dominant fashion, versus Yoshi Tatsu. Yoshi Tatsu being from Japan, Lord Tensai, who has gone to Japan and come back. I thought that was a very interesting dynamic, and the commentators played it up, because apparently, if anybody follows Yoshi Tatsu on Twitter, I know I don't, but apparently he's been insulting Lord Tensai all week, and he wanted this match because it's a disgrace that he's saying he's from Japan when he's really not, and whatever. Well, Lord Tensai, what does he do? He pretty much destroys Yoshi Tatsu, doesn't he? Dominates the whole match. Yoshi Tatsu, I think, gets like 3 or 4 punches and kicks in. The entire match, people are chanting Albert. It's basically the crowd's way of saying, okay, WWE, we're not stupid. The 2 moves that he has, that he did last week, that he did again this week, that I really, really love, are that double underhook suplex that he does, and the 2-handed chokeslam bomb thing that he used to call the Baldo bomb, but seeing as that sounds kind of retarded, I'm hoping they're going to give it another name. Like last week, the referee stops the match because Yoshitatsu can't continue. Lord Tensai is your winner. No problems there. CM Punk comes out, he says he's very angry with Chris Jericho with the whole bottle smashing thing last week. Not everybody gets straight edge, but I didn't win this title for being straight edge or being trendy. I won it because I'm the best in the world, and goes basically through the shopping list of things that Jericho has done to him, talking about his dad, talking about his sister. Jericho couldn't get the job done at WrestleMania. He busted me over the head with a liquor bottle last week, and he's got all these, demons running in my head now, and they're all going to get him. And Jericho comes up on the Titantron and says, it was very easy to take you out. It shouldn't have been so easy to take you out. You had that first drink last week. Are you still hungover now? Are you drunk now? Do you need a 12-step program now? And then he starts what I know a bunch of my buddies here in the YWC thought was so disrespectful of the fans a few weeks ago. Straight out of the lips of Chris Jericho, we get the new nickname for CM Punk, and oh yes, it is CM Drunk. Oh yes. Punk sits there with an angry look on his face, says, I'm coming for you, you put me in this dark place, I'm residing in this dark place right now, and I'm coming out of this dark place, and I'm coming out of this dark place for you. Has all his attention on Jericho, forgets that he has a world title match with Mark Henry. Mark Henry comes out. There is no match because Punk, goes at him, fists and kicks of fury. Mark Henry, fights back with 1 or 2 big shoves or slams or whatever the hell he did to put Jericho, whatever Mark Henry did, just sort of shoved him off, threw him off, whatever, to get Punk on the outside of the ring. immediately goes for the monitor, doesn't even care about the match. He's pissed off. One smack of Mark Henry with the monitor, and Mark Henry's the winner by disqualification. Henry takes out Punk after the match. 2 World's Strongest Slams in the ring. Jericho comes to the ring with beer and, 2 6-packs of beer. Punk and Jericho brawl in the ring, but Punk is already sore from the beating he took from Mark Henry, and he gets a beer bath from Jericho and a code breaker. So that's wonderful and lovely. And it was drawn out, and everybody's going to say that this was super awkward for how long it's drawn out, but all the drawing out and the awkwardness does to this scene is it accentuates your sympathy for Punk, it accentuates your disdain for Jericho. Everything that they're doing, and I know I'm skipping forward here to my, score fail and MVP stuff, but everything that they're doing right now in the Punk Jericho thing is absolutely brilliant, and the psychology of it is great, and Jericho is a true heel, and it is fucking awesome. Moving on. Zack Ryder versus Alberto Del Rio owns Ryder in a couple of minutes, including countering the Rough Rider to throw Ryder face first into the turnbuckle. Obviously, cross-arm breaker gets the win for Alberto Del Rio. Alberto Del Rio is looking pretty good since he came back, for those of you that were shitting on him. Oh, yes, the Stooges come out to the ring, and I wasn't even going to write anything down, but one of them comes out, and I love this. I'm a big fan of TNA, but I do love the jabs between companies. The fattest of the Stooges, I don't know what his name is because I really don't care, comes out dressed as Hulk Hogan and does his best Hulk Hogan impression to promote their movie. And it's one of those things that's like, this is horrible and I shouldn't laugh, but at the same time, I can't really stop. And we are saved from the stupidity because Kane comes out and chokeslams the wannabe fat Hulk Hogan stooge. So that's fine and wonderful. Mark Henry is interviewed backstage, says, I've won once already by countout, I've won once already by disqualification. Next week I'm getting another rematch for the WWE title. It's going to be no countout and no disqualification, and I'm going to beat Punk, and thanks to John Laurinaitis and blah-de-blah-de-blah-de-blah-de-blah, becomes, big chocolate, freaking big fan of Johnny Ace ass-kissing stuff. Yes. Not really with the talking values and shit. Anyways, we come back from break. We go from a backstage interview to commercial break to another backstage interview with Brock Lesnar. And I love this interview because he was asked if he was proud of what he's done. He says, am I proud of what I've done? Look back a few years when I came into this company and I made this company look great by being its champion. And then I left. And then I went to the UFC and I made the UFC great by becoming their champion. Now I've come back here again and I'm going to be proud of everything I do now, because now you're going to have a real face, not like John Cena, because John Cena is not fit on any given day to carry my jock strap. And I laughed at that. I did. That made me a happy boy. And the main event of the evening, if I can call it a main event, was Otunga versus Cena. And let me say this, to those of you who think I don't give Cena any credit at all, Otunga got a ridiculous amount of offense in this match. I am not a fan of Cena. You guys know this. Anybody that has seen any more than one of my videos knows that I am not a fan of Cena, but it is kind of ridiculous how much offense Otunga got in this match. Not only that, but he got in the offense and then he had time to pose, and he got into more offense when he had time to pose. And I'll say it again, I'm not a fan of John Cena, but it's ridiculous that Otunga got to look this good. Even I will say that. But yes, ultimately at the end, things do come back to normal. AA, STF, Cena wins. I have no problem with Cena getting this victory, because Cena losing to Otunga, even I will admit, would have been ridiculous. But me being a good, nice, proper, even-minded, even-tempered fan does get repaid in full, because Lesnar comes out with a low blow and an F5 for Cena, and that's how we end the show. Oh, yes. Kind of a blah way to end the show. A blah match and an okay moment to end the show. Now we got score, fail, and MVP. Scores. Johnny Ace has music now. Are we excited? We've taken steps against the Superman gimmick of John Cena. First of all, him being, the guy that always does everything right and whatever, always respecting everybody, always having good sportsmanship, etc. That was broken this week by coming down to Lesnar, smiling in his face and slapping him and just getting into a brawl. That's a little different than what we normally see from Cena. I like that. Can we have more of that, please? Also, he was busted open. Here we go. There's 2 reasons I like this. First of all, they didn't try to hide it. It wasn't like when Orton, busted open Rhodes, and when we saw the replays of that match, they completely omitted the parts where, Rhodes was busted open. Second of all, they focused on it. So not only are they allowing the existence of blood in this particular scenario because it fits and it makes sense, they are allowing John Cena to look less than invincible, and I like that. That's going to help Cena in the long run, like I've been saying all along. Give him a few chinks in his armor, give him a few imperfections, and people will be more invested. It's the same as I said about him losing to Rock at WrestleMania. It makes him imperfect. It provides the opportunity that he does have weaknesses and he can lose. If you know somebody can lose, you're more excited for them and you're more behind them when they do win. This is very simple stuff, but I'm explaining it so you guys can see my point of view. Tensai wins another match by ref call, and the reason I like this, you want to prove that somebody's dominant. Okay, we proved that Brodus Clay was dominant because he kept on just coming in and squashing people. Lord Tensai is doing the opposite. Lord Tensai is coming in with the idea and the motivation and the thought process that he would rather just hurt people. His goal is to hurt people. He doesn't even care about winning or losing, so he just pounds people into the mat, and the only reason that they are spared is because the referee has mercy on them. It's got nothing to do with Lord Tensai saying, okay, I've done enough, I'll just pin him now. No, it's if the referee hadn't stopped the match, he would have just kept getting an ass whooping. There you go. I like that. It's a little bit different. And going along with the Lord Tensai thought for a second, even though he was absolutely ragdolled tonight, Yoshi Tatsu was on Raw. When the hell was the last time Yoshi Tatsu was on Raw? That's cool. The Punk Jericho heat grows. And I said it a minute ago and I'm going to say it again. They are doing brilliantly with this feud. They are making, legitimate sympathy and legitimate crowd backing and legitimate, almost overwhelmed underdog a little bit feelings for CM Punk while he's, still established as the big star that he is. And you're legitimately hating Jericho. And it's another one of those things. It's like when he first started bringing up the family stuff. We as an audience are uncomfortable or kind of squeamish about the subject matter. We legitimately resent the Jericho character for making us feel that uncomfortable. Leads to his credibility as a heel. Not only do we not like him for what he's doing to Punk, but we don't like him for what he's doing to us as a crowd, and it's brilliant. Now, to go along with the Punk Jericho feud, we have Mark Henry constantly in the background. Now there's a sort of a shadow rivalry going between Punk and Henry that has not had a clean ending yet, which means to me, or at least presents the possibility to me, that when the Jericho Punk story is over, there's a rivalry already waiting. One-on-one Punk versus Mark Henry, and it's a rivalry that once Jericho is out of the way is very, very intriguing to me. And the more I see them meet up with each other on these short little spurts, while he's dealing with Jericho, the more I want to see the focus turn to this matchup when he's done with Jericho, or when Jericho goes back to do Fozzy stuff or whatever. It's an intriguing match. When this match itself gets itself onto a pay-per-view, I will be very, very interested. Alberto Del Rio, for making his comeback last week, has definitely hit the ground running. He's technically got a win over the World Heavyweight Champion, even though it was in disqualification circumstances. Technically, that means he's getting a world title match, I think. And, he beat Ryder on Raw tonight. It wasn't a big star to beat, but he picked up another victory on the A show. So that, the weight of that has to stand for something. Brock Lesnar had the line of the night with the whole Cena can't even hold my jockstrap. It's a cheap shot, it's a petty insult, but at the same time, it's just kind of awesome. Fails, there aren't that many, but Cena versus Lesnar already being announced for Extreme Rules. Other than taking a couple cheap shots at each other, they haven't really had a chance to fully, describe what's going on, develop something between them. And till you get to the point where, okay, there's something between these guys, now they need to have a match at a pay-per-view. They've just sort of, Lesnar's back, they're going to have a match. I'm looking forward to the match. Please don't misunderstand me. I really want to see how this goes, because anybody that remembers back far enough to when Cena and Lesnar used to have matches, they were pretty damn good. And I'm giving that credit to Cena as well. So I'm looking forward to this match, you know, to see Lesnar in the ring again. I'm looking forward to see what Cena can do face-to-face with Lesnar. I'm looking forward to this match. I think the announcement of this match came far too soon. That's my only thing with that. Santino Marella's still an idiot. Until it changes, I'm just going to have that as the one default in my fail column every week. I love the Brodus Clay character. It's a lot of fun. Michael Cole and Jerry Lawler need to stop making dinosaur jokes. Oh, I'd be an oldosaur, and I'd be a smartosaur, and I'd be... Fuck off. Like, go back to making jokes about Vicky Guerrero, because at least those ones are kind of funny. Big Show's interruptions of Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes doing the interruption thing and costing Big Show matches worked because he's a heel. Why does Big Show, who now has the title, who now has his big WrestleMania moment, who's had his shtick at Cody Rhodes and come out on top, A, why is he still fixated on Cody Rhodes, and B, why is he fixated on Cody Rhodes with heel tactics? Psychology and storytelling of that particular thing, A, doesn't work, and B, is just annoying. That's all. I love the return of Brock Lesnar. I really, really do. I have said in multiple points in this video already, I'm excited about what he's doing, how he's been since he's been back. I'm excited to see the match at Extreme Rules. I don't like the fact that he's come back in one way or another, and I'm not putting the man down in any stretch of the imagination, but I don't like that he's come back as another henchman for John Laurinaitis. I would rather the story had been, I went and I dominated the UFC, this guy's been, you know, running the show, and he's had the top spot since I've been gone. He only had this top spot because I was gone, and I'm back to prove it. I'm back to take my spot at the top of the food chain. John Cena, I'm coming after you. But no, we have it that John Laurinaitis has brought him back as a henchman to destroy John Cena, which is a little... Don't necessarily... Yeah. Fave 5, and dear God, what kind of night did my Fave 5 have tonight? Orton wasn't there. Miz wasn't there. Rhodes lost to friggin' RTruth. Ziggler lost to the team of Brodus Clay and Santino, which makes me cry a little bit inside. Punk is having bad times. Lost last week to Henry, got his head smashed in with a bottle. Lost to Henry again this week, got a beer bath. Has another title match with Henry coming up next week, and guaranteed Jericho's going to come in. And that, with it being a no disqualification match, I can see it happening, that Jericho screws Punk out of the world title and we see a new WWE champion in Mark Henry. The only little bit of solace that I have to keep me from thinking that that's going to happen is the fact that technically Mark Henry is still a SmackDown talent. But on the other side of that, in 2 weeks apparently we're having the draft. So yeah, I can see them putting the WWE Championship on Mark Henry in bullshit fashion on Raw, rather than on a pay-per-view where it should happen, like, say, Extreme Rules. MVP of the night, and I'm sure everybody and their mother is expecting me to say Brock Lesnar, because Brock Lesnar is beating the shit out of John Cena, and Spaz hates John Cena, so of course he's going to put Brock Lesnar as his MVP. I'm not. I'm really, really enjoying the reintroduction of the Lord Tensai character. Lord Tensai, 2 dominant victories 2 weeks in a row. Granted, not over the biggest stars in the company. They're not going to put him up against the biggest stars in the company on his return. You put him in with mid-carders and, let him show what he can do. And he's made his entrance back in dominant form. He hasn't had to say a word. He's, the cliche goes, do all your talking in the ring. He's done that. I've liked the way he's done it. He's made a very impressive comeback, and I personally am enjoying it quite a bit, and it's got me intrigued. I'm tuning in next week to see what Lesnar does. I'm tuning in next week to see what Punk and Jericho do. I'm tuning in for, Mark Henry versus Punk. I'm turning in to see what Cena can do next, and da-da-da-da. But I'd be lying if I didn't say I was also tuning in next week to see who gets squashed by Lord Tensai. And being that he's nowhere near the main event, that's pretty impressive for a new guy. So that's been it. That is my take on tonight's Raw, guys. I've been Spaz. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation. Let me know what you think. Keep that conversation going, and I will talk to you guys later. I'm tagging out. Bye.
Wow.